Your job. You'll go with Tanu, okay? Yes. All right. So today is actually a very special day. Madhav, you tell us what day it is.
It's the appearance day of Sri Srivas Pandit.
Yes, and who is that?
It is an expansion of, or an incarnation of Narada Muni, but one of the 5 great transcendental personalities in the Panchatattva, or the 5 absolute, the 5 personalities consisting of the absolute truth.
Yes, this is very good. So mostly correct. So Srivas Pandit. So in this age of Kali, well, first of all, Lauren, you're brand new to all of this, right?
Sort of.
Okay. Have you ever heard anything about even Hinduism or Indian?
Hinduism and Buddhism mainly.
You studied.
Yeah.
So if I were to tell you about an avatar, an incarnation of the Lord, you would be like, "That's I understand," or "I don't understand."
Like the term.
Yeah.
Term.
Okay, avatar, right? It literally means in Sanskrit, he who descends or one who descends. So a transcendental personality from the spiritual realm coming to this world. So why are we even talking about avatars? In the most recent avatar is a personality called Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was predicted in the ancient scriptures that he would come, and he did come. He followed the scriptures exactly that he would come, but he would come with certain associates. And why am I mentioning this? Because one of the associates that he came with, Srivas Pandit, there was 4 main associates he came with. He came with many associates, but there were 4 main ones. And one of the main ones, it's his birthday today, or it's his appearance day today. So, there's a couple esoteric meanings to the Panchatattva. Madhav said nicely, this is also the Srivas Thakur is the incarnation of Narad Muni. Narad Muni is a very special transcendental personality. He's mentioned all across all the Vedic literatures. He's in the Ramayana, he's in the Mahabharata, he's in all of the Vedic literatures. He's a great sage amongst the demigods, and he's actually also a transcendental trickster. He likes to stir up trouble to make sure all the pastimes go on nicely. So Srivas Thakur also, he is Narad Muni's most recent incarnation, and he appeared on this day. So I actually planned to just continue where we left off, and we were doing Upadeshamrita when I left, and we finished verse 4, so I was just going to do verse 5. But then by good fortune, I found out, it's Srivas Thakur's appearance day today. So then we have to do something in regards to Srivas Thakur. But the good news is that the subject matter of verse 5 of the Upadeshamrita and the subject matter of the tattva behind, the tattva means the truth, the conclusive philosophical truth. So the philosophical truth behind Srivas Thakur's appearance, they're exactly in alignment. So what we'll talk about in Upadeshamrita will exactly line up with the tattva of Srivas Thakur, but I don't want to just talk about tattva because that might get a little dry. And then Ben and my wife are going to remind me about certain pastimes that I'm going to tell, and then we'll just tell pastimes of Srivas Thakur. And then after we tell the pastimes, Madhav will put on his pujari clothing, or maybe he'll take my pujari clothing, whatever needs to be done. And then we'll sing some songs together. So that's very good. Okay? Alright. So let's do it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay. So we can do this one all together too. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militang Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtang Stapitang Yena Bhutale Svayang Rupa Gadamayang Didati Swapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupang Sagrajatang Sahagana Raghunathan Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitang Savadutang Parijana Saitang Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patridhanam Kavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatadine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gurave Gaura Chandraya, Radhikaya Tadalaye, Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya, Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. So I offer my obeisances many times over to my initiating spiritual master. I offer my obeisances many times over to my bhajan shiksha gurus who have been helping me tremendously in this life. And I offer my obeisances to all of the Vaishnavas here, present, past, present, and future. Vanchakalpatru Vishnu Kripasindhu Chapatitanam Pavani Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Okay, so repeat after me. Krishneti yasya giritang manasadriyeta Dikshasti chet pranatabhischa bhajantamisham Shushrusaya bhajana vigyamananyamanya Nindadi shunya hridamipsita sangalabdhya. Yes. Okay. So now, Parth, you chant this again.
Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta
Krishneti yasya giritang manasadriyeta Dikshasti chet pranadabhischa bhajantamisham
Shushrusya bhajana vignam ananyamanya
Shushrusaya bhajana vigyamananyamanya
Nindati shunya hridam ispita sangalabdhya
Nindadi shunya hridamipsita sangalabdhya. Okay. We'll skip that synonyms. I'll go back to them later, so don't worry. Now let's just do it. Krishna.
Krishna.
The holy name of Lord Krishna.
The holy name of Lord Krishna.
Lauren, if you don't know, Krishna is a name for God. It actually means one who is most beautiful, most attractive. So we talk in all types of religions, they talk about God as the Almighty, God is the All-Knowing, God, is the All powerful. Yes, that's kind of Almighty. Almighty. What's that?
all knowledge,
Yes, all-knowing.
renunciation.
Yes, but usually the Judeo-Christian religions don't focus on it. Usually almighty and all-knowing. They say this is like God. But in the Vedic tradition, there's a few extra ones known. One of them is all-beautiful. So in the Vedic religion, it's actually, the Vedic understanding, it's actually described what God's forms look like and what type of qualities he has. So Krishna is actually the name describing how beautiful God is. So it's very nice. So the holy name of Lord Krishna. Iti means thus. Yasya, of whom. Giri, in the words or speech. Tam, him. Manasa, by the mind. Adriyeta, one must honor. Good. Diksha, initiation. Asti. There is. Chet. If. Prana to be. By obeisances. Cha. Also. Bhajantam. Engaged in devotional service. Isham. Unto the personality, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shushrushaya. By practical service. Also, it should be known Shushrushaya also is referring to the hearing. So the first service of bhakti is what? Shravanam, so hearing. So especially hearing, just know that. But Shushrushaya here is by practical service. Bhajana Vigyam. One who is advanced in devotional service. Ananyam, without deviation. Anyan indadi adi. A blasphemy of others, etc. So, like criticizing others and things like this is very dangerous. Shunya, completely devoid. Freedom, whose heart? Ipsita, desirable. Sangha, association, and labdhya, by gaining. Okay, so today's subject matter is the devotee, because of we should know of the Panchatattva. The topmost one is who? Come on in. Who is the? Come on in, please come. Hello. So we have friends. So the topmost personality of the Panchatattva is who? Oh, Tej is here. Long time no see, Tej. Topmost. You tell me.
I mean Lord Chaitanya, because all of them are
yes.
just in Lord Chaitanya.
So the Lord Chaitanya is the topmost. Kumari, Hare Krishna. So, but in order to get Lord Chaitanya, you cannot get Lord Chaitanya without two personalities, Nityananda Prabhu and Gadadhar Pandit. So, Lord Chaitanya represents the Supreme Lord, but the expansion of Nityananda Prabhu and Gadadhar Pandit are the two gurus one has in one's life. What are the two gurus? Yes, she said Diksha and Shiksha. Diksha is the one who initiates one, who formally brings one into practice, and then Shiksha is the one who actually imparts the knowledge of God onto the one. Diksha and Shiksha can come from one personality, but they also can come from separate personalities. Oftentimes what happens is the devotee at Diksha is not ready to receive pure Shiksha, and then it may at some point later in life, in time, that they're ready to receive Shiksha and then they receive Shiksha. Not always that way, but it may happen that way. Take him away, probably. So, sorry, I'm still a little sick from India. And so, but in order to get to them, Nityananda and Gadadhar Pandit, there's two lower rungs. There's two other personalities. Advaita Acharya, what does he represent, Parth? Yes? So Mahavishnu and Sadashiv. But how practically,
resolving duality.
Yes, actually resolving duality, he represents the Advaya Gyan Tattva, which means he represents understanding that everything is one. Understanding the oneness, the universal connectivity of everything. Of all things, that God is present in the fabric of everything in life. And if we actually understand that, and we're seeking out that source in our life and understanding how we're a part of it, and we see the connectivity, this is Advaita Tattva. This is the Advaya Gyan. So this is actually Advaita Acharya's realm. So these are the ways that you can progress up through the five truths to reach Lord Chaitanya. So, and then Srivas Thakur is the final one, and what does he represent? The devotee, yes. So it's all very important. Every single facet of the Panchatattva has to be there, or Lord Chaitanya cannot be achieved. The relationship with the Lord cannot be achieved without every single facet. So Advaita Acharya represents the oneness of everything, and actually all of you must have at some point realized there must be some higher interconnectivity. Many people say, like a lot of people getting into spiritual life, I just feel like there's, the universe, He's always, giving me signs and messages and things like that. Many people, they see like that. They're recognizing the synchronicities of life. I've heard recently from who we were studying with in India. What did he say, Ben? That Advaita Acharya is the
Divine synthetic personality.
yes, the divine synthetic personality. He synthesizes.
The opposites.
Yes, everything that seems to be duality, he synthesizes all of these things. And this is the Advaya Gyan Tattva. So many people, they realize that I think that everything's connected. Many people in their spiritual journey usually have that type of realization first. Everything seems connected. There must be a God. I don't know quite all about God, but it just seems like there must be a God. And then what happens then is then they might meet the devotee. And Srivas Thakur, he represents the devotee. And actually this verse, it talks about what the different types of devotees are. And then we'll also talk about, the purport of this is very long, but it talks about how to actually associate with the three different types of devotee. And the three different types of devotee are the Kanishta Adhikari, or the neophyte devotee, which we all start out as. Then the Madhyamadikari, the advancing devotee, the middling devotee, and then the Uttamadikari, the very advanced devotee. So Srivas Thakur is representing the devotee, and he himself is an Uttamadikari, a great devotee. So we're going to hear. You know what a devotee is? If I say the word devotee, what does that mean to you, Lauren? I'm picking on you a little bit, but out of friendship.
The devotee, is it the person receiving?
It is a person who is devoted.
Yeah.
A person who is devoted. So many people are devoted to many things in this life. A lot of people are devotees of their boss. So yes, boss, I'm devoted to whatever you say. And then they do that. Or some people are devotees of their parents. Yes, mom, yes, dad, I'll do whatever you say. But here we're talking about the devotees of God. Those who are devoted in trying to please the Lord. So this is what a devotee is, and these are the three different types of devotees. So the translation is, one should mentally honor the devotee who chants the holy name of the Lord Krishna. One should offer humble obeisances to the devotee who has undergone spiritual initiation, Diksha, and is engaged in worshipping the deity. And one should associate with and faithfully serve that pure devotee who is advanced in undeviated devotional service and whose heart is completely devoid of the propensity to criticize others. So these are the recommendations in this verse. Let me see. Yes, Prabhupada will talk about this a little bit in the first paragraph, so we'll read it. In order to intelligently apply the sixfold loving reciprocations mentioned in the previous verse, remember, does anyone know what those sixfold reciprocations are? What's the verse? That's the third line. Yes,
Giving
go.
gifts, sharing their mind confidential. I don't remember the Sanskrit.
No, Parth, you say the Sanskrit, you said it.
I just remember the first one.
Dadati,
Granati, Guyang,
Akyati, Prichati, Bhunkte,
Bojayate Shaiva,
Shadvidhang, Priti Lakshanam. Yes. Dadati is giving gifts. Pratigrihnati is receiving gifts. Dadati, Pratigrihnati. Guyang is like confidential. Akyati is explaining, you're revealing your heart confidentially. Prichati, and also inquiring into the heart of others. Bhunkte means feeding others. And Bojayate is receiving prasadam, or maybe even the remnants of others. Chaiva, certainly as well. Shadvidhang Priti Lakshanam. These are the 6 Priti Lakshanam. The symptoms of love, symptoms of affection. Priti is a very complicated word. There's a lot of definition to Priti, but the most simplified, and we'll just stick to that, is love. So, we have to understand that with devotees, there are certain things we should do. We should give gifts, receive gifts. We should inquire confidentially from them, and we should also reveal our own hearts to them in appropriate measure. And then also we should feed them, and receive food from them as well. So these are how the devotees all associate with each other. Prabhupada is saying, in order to intelligently apply those sixfold loving reciprocations mentioned in the previous verse, one must select proper persons with careful discrimination. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore advises that we should meet with Vaishnavas in an appropriate way, according to their particular status. In this verse, he tells us how to deal with three types of devotees: the Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari. The Kanishta Adhikari is a neophyte who has received the Harinam initiation from the spiritual master and is trying to chant the holy name of Krishna. So actually, until even the Harinam initiation is there, it might not even be a Kanishta Adhikari. So this is, but actually, Harinam initiation is a formality. Everyone has received the Krishna mantra. So in that way, you've all been initiated into the Harinam. But we should understand this. We should not think that we're higher than we are. One should respect such a person within his mind as a Kanishta Vaishnava. So even that person is all deserving of respect. Any devotee, anyone who is calling out to God and who has some practice in their life, they all deserve respect. Then he says, one should respect such a person in his mind. Okay, I said that. A Madhyam Adhikari has received spiritual initiation from the spiritual master and has been fully engaged by him in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So a Madhyam Adhikari, Dikshasti Chet, Pranatibhis Bhajantamisham. He has taken Diksha, and that person is worthy of one's serious respect. Like, not just within the mind, but you should also physically show your respect to such a person. That might even be when you see them bowing down before them. When Vaishnavas greet each other, they'll usually bow before each other, especially Diksha-initiated devotees. At least on the first greeting of each other, they'll bow to each other or chant, Vanchakalpa, which this prayer is glorifying the devotee. And then the Madhyam Adhikari should be considered to be situated midway in devotional service. The Uttam Adhikari, or highest devotee, is one who is very advanced in devotional service. An Uttam Adhikari is not interested in blaspheming others. His heart is completely clean, and he has attained the realized state of unalloyed Krishna consciousness. According to Srila Rupa Goswami, the association and service of such a Mahabhagavat, or perfect Vaishnava, is most desirable. So we'll go back to this verse, and we'll kind of break it down, what it means. And we should also understand, we should all think we're a Kanishta Adhikari. We should all understand, because realistically we're all of the Kanishta Adhikari. But we should understand some, especially those who have taken Diksha and have realized what's called Sambandha Jnana. So in Diksha, what's given are certain mantras that detail your relationship with Guru, your relationship with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this body that you're serving in. This is called the Sadhak Deha. And then your relationship at the spiritual level with Radha and Krishna. So I cannot really tell more than that, because that would be breaking rules. But I can tell you this Sambandha Jnana is given at Diksha. And so, and the quality of the spiritual master giving that Diksha will also bestow the quality of your Sambandha Jnana as well. So this is given at Diksha, and one who has received this, who has a realization of this, they're to be respected. This person, especially from our Kanishta platform, we should very much want to hear from them. We should very much want to understand their realizations and so on. But even better is, and why? Because Bhajantam Isham, they unto the Supreme Controller, which is Isha. We have more friends. Hare Krishna, Jagadish, hop on in, Haribol. Nice to see you. So very good. Yes. So, long time no see, Jagadish. Yeah, no, sorry. We're good. We're happy to see you.
Hey! Things changed. Look at this.
Yes.
He's got a map.
He does have a mop. He'll trim the mop. Don't worry. But it's a cute mop. We like it. So
Go ahead. Sorry.
no, it's good. It's good. Well, it's a good-looking mop. We like it.
It is.
Right? Stella, you agree? Good-looking mop, or I could use a trim, or
We're
both.
talking about his hair.
Yes, his head.
Whatever he likes.
Whatever he likes. That's very
He's a
nice.
handsome young man.
He's very handsome. So, okay, we were talking about the three different types of devotees: the Kanishta Adhikari, the Madhyama Adhikari, and the Uttama Adhikari. Now we're talking about the Uttama Adhikari. In this is two lines of this verse. Shushrushaya bhajana vigyam ananyamanya nindadi shunya hridam ipsita sangha labdhya. So remember, Shushrushaya meant what? I'll take away.
Yeah, service.
Practically serving, but what's the number one service? Hearing, yes. Shushrushaya bhajana vigyam, which means what? Vigya is what? Jnana is knowledge, right? And vigya, or vijnana means what? Realized knowledge, yes. Like fully, wisdom. The difference between knowledge, information, and realization. It's wisdom. So bhajana vigyam, they've completely realized in their bhajan, in their worship, their service. Ananyam, purely. Ananya means like unmixed. So they're purely fixed. Whereas someone who's maybe taking diksha, they still have some mixture left over of their, they're practicing bhakti, but still some material desires might be there. They still might have some material things left over. But this bhajana vigyam devotee, they're unmixed, ananyam. And then anya nindadi means to, the faults like blasphemy or to criticize. So this is actually this is what's causing us so much degradation in this world, is that one, we want to distinguish ourselves above others, and we're very proud of our individual selves. And instead of being humble, which is recommended in all spiritual traditions, we are very proud and always want to distinguish ourselves. And in that, we like to criticize others because it makes us feel better about our perception of ascending in ego status in this material world. Yes.
We call it imagined achievements.
Yes, our imagined achievements. This is what we're so proud of in this world. So we tend to criticize others. But why is this mentioned? Because if you this is how you can tell such a personality. If they have the tendency to criticize others, then they're still, to that extent that they're doing that, is going to be how much work that person needs to do. So if you have some so-called guru and his teachings are how to criticize all others, then you should have some realization, and this verse should tell you, this might be a problem here. So anyway, also ourselves too, we should catch ourselves. This also should teach us, okay, why am I spending so much time criticizing this person, what that person is doing, this person, this. If there's criticism going on in our heart, we should see it as an impurity as well. So all of these things, yes.
Question relative to this: what about the criticism of yourself and not
Criticism of yourself. This is said to be healthy. This is okay. This is for others. Criticizing others is bad. Criticizing yourself is good. But realistically criticizing others, to acknowledge one's own faults, this is actually spiritual advancement. But to worry about everyone else's faults, this is complete spiritual foolishness. So, but yes, criticism of yourself is good actually. It's very good. All of our acharyas, they have so many bhajans in which they criticize themselves. But it's very healthy and appreciated, and it shows their humility. And it shows actually how great they really are. So this is...
What if we are surrounded by family or friends who enjoy sarcastic humor?
Yes, and criticizing.
I really don't like criticizing
Yes,
someone,
yes.
but you know, a bunch of people, they find humor in just by, you know, criticizing themselves also. Like, you know, the son and mother criticize each other,
Yeah, yeah.
and they have the fun and they have the habit of criticizing everybody around. But I don't think I fit in that family.
Yes, yes. So this, you missed a few other verses we just did, but I can tell you two main parts. There's one part in for things that destroy bhakti. One of them is jana sangha, which is worldly association, and also in that also is prajalpa. Prajalpa is mundane talks. You know, criticism is in these mundane talks. So those who are engaging in these mundane talks or worldly talks, worrying about criticizing this and that, what actually happens is this destroys our devotion. So this type of association, one of the things that increase bhakti, it's called sangha tyaga, means rejecting such association or limiting or reducing such association. So a lot of times, yes, that might even mean family members. Yes, it's not that I'll give you, you know Jesus, you've heard of Jesus, yes? So one story of, believe it or not, sometimes in the East they don't care much for Jesus. In the West we're just, everyone's heard of Jesus, right? But so Jesus, an example of this is there was one follower who was really impressed with the many things Jesus was doing. And he went and he asked Jesus, he said, I want to come and follow you, but my father has just died, and let me just go take care of his funeral rites and then I'll come right away. And Jesus said to him, let the dead bury the dead, and if you want eternal life, you come and follow me now. Why? He knew as soon as he went back with the family, they would convince him to stay. And he couldn't follow that instruction, and that's exactly what happened. But it's meant to show us why, because if we associate with those who are on the mundane platform, you could say in Jesus' terminology, the dead platform, then we will become dead like them. And
yeah, it is like we are forced to, then we lose our self-confidence because
yes.
everybody is criticizing around, and you know, we feel low and less in confidence because everybody is criticizing, and then we can't do like them, and slowly we have to keep up our voice so that we live there, or you know, survive that situation.
Yes. So what you want to do is somehow, reduce this association, but the way you do that more practically is increase this type of association in your life, increase your devotee association, and then naturally it's very easy to not be so attracted to this mundane. Raghunath Das Goswami, this is Rupa Goswami's poetry, but Raghunath Das Goswami, he in his poetry, the Manashiksha, he says, Asadvarta Veshya Visarjamati Sarva Swaharani. And what that means is asadvarta, mundane talks, the talks of the temporary world, things that are going to come and go and mean nothing in the grand scheme of spiritual truth. If we hear such talks, it's like a veshya, a prostitute. And that prostitute, what does a prostitute usually do? They take the money from the client. That's why they're there. They're there, they're giving love, and it seems so sweet and it seems so nice, but she's there for a reason. She's there to get paid, and she's going to plunder everything. So if a person is wise, he abandons the prostitute. Obviously, prostitution is illegal in the U.S., so it's easy to abandon prostitutes here. But all over the world, this is like a profession. Even here, it's a profession that's happening. So why should they abandon it? Visraja mati sarvasva. Mati is one's resolution, resolve, one's consciousness. What's absorbed? What is the consciousness being absorbed in? So when you hear a sadvarta, or these mundane talks, so let's say the banter between family members, or let's say, talk of the news, politics, sports, this and that, what it does is it just takes what's called your sarvasva, your greatest wealth, harani, and it steals it. So what is your greatest wealth? Is your ability to absorb your consciousness on God, actually. And all bad things stem when our greatest wealth is taken away from us. There's a verse in the Bhagavatam that goes, Bayam dvitiya biniveshitasyad ishadapitasya viparyayo smriti. So Bayam is fear. So everyone is fearful in this world. Why? Because they've developed what's called dvitiya biniveshita, absorption in duality. So that has arisen, syat, that has arisen in their life. Why? Ishad, the supreme controller, apitasya. They've turned their consciousness away from the supreme controller, viparya smriti, and they've misidentified who they actually are and what's actually important, asmriti, and they've forgotten. So if we hear these mundane talks, our greatest wealth will be stolen from us. So with the wise person, they don't ever put themselves in such an environment. But for us, who it's realistic, we're always in that environment. We have to gradually associate with devotees and the highest devotees that we can find, especially this Shushrusha Bhajana Vigya Mananya Manya. And if we can associate with those devotees, then gradually we'll lose all taste for all these other things that we were doing previously. But it's a gradual process, and you can't be 100% engaged in the material world, meet one devotee one time, and you said, okay, now I'll be 100% a devotee. And like this, it'll take time. But when you realize how your real greatest treasure and wealth is being stolen from you in this, you could say, mundane association, you'll gradually, and then when you really realize, you'll start sprinting away from this thing. But in the beginning, you should just try to increase your devotee association in your life, and then this will inspire you deeper, and then you'll more and more be less attracted. But don't worry too much. Yes, Ben?
Just giving you a pastime reminder.
Yes, pastimes. That's very good. So let me conclude this. But we should understand with humility. All the lower devotees should always want to defer and hear from the higher devotees. Those who have the higher qualities. It's said actually, in the beginning in Kanishta Adhikari, we may want to practice our devotional and we want to prove ourselves in devotion or something like this. But actually, this is the opposite mood of what we should have. We should always want to serve those and hear from those in the higher realm. It's said actually, there's 3 things that a devotee should never want to do, an advanced devotee. And you see oftentimes advanced devotees, they only will do these services on the request of the higher devotees or their guru. But a devotee should never be eager to be the pujari. A devotee should never be eager to give the class. And a devotee should never be eager to lead kirtan, actually. All of those things, the devotees should never, actually, in their advanced stage, they should never be eager to do these things. They should always hope that a more qualified devotee will do all those things. But because likely we're all Kanishta Adhikari, we all, because it's we're still much of the false ego is there. We want to say, look at my kirtan, look at my pujari, look at the poetry or the information, the knowledge I have in the class, or this and that. So, or this, it could be cooking the feast, it could be any service that you do. But the devotee is actually working on this process of trinadapi sunichena, to become more humble than a blade of grass, Tarorapi sahishnana, to be more tolerant than a tree, especially in our chanting, to tolerate all of the mind's demands that telling us, no, do everything else. Take your consciousness away from the Lord. Come on, that's not important. Don't, like this. The mind is quite fickle like that. And amanina, you're great at this, telling you how great you are. Where if you criticize yourself, no, I suck at this, then actually it's much healthier, actually. Not that we have to be, overly dramatic and, overestimating our faults or something like that. But we have to be realistic, with, wow, this is not pure, this thing in me. And manadena, this is manadena. This verse is all about manadena, learning how to respect others. So, how? Manasajriyeta, for anyone chanting the holy name, they deserve respect. In the mind, at least, you should always respect them. Anybody, any devotee practicing, no matter what, every one of you already either deserving of respect. Actually, all living entities, and actually it's revealed in one of the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that all living entities are actually already chanting different names of God, and actually everybody fits this. Everybody, every living entity is deserving of respect. And actually this is the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 11th canto. It's one of the final teachings of Krishna to Uddhava, that if one wants to be advanced, one should have to offer their respects to every living entity, and at all times. And so this is one of Krishna's conclusions. But Dikshasti Chet, if one has taken this Diksha process and has really seriously devoted themselves in their, have a bhajan to Misham, a bhajan unto the Supreme Lord, they're especially deserving of our respect. And, naturally, we should try to serve them, hear from them, and especially if we're on the lower platform. Now, there's different, we should understand, like, for instance, some of us were like, oh, well, I don't really know who's lower. This one's better at this one, this one's better at this one. We're all practically on the same platform. But there are certain ways to understand who's senior and who's not. Like for instance, one of them is age. Just age alone. Someone who is in an older body, actually, even though the most proper qualification is who has actually been in devotion longer, who has actually been in this devotional process longer, in this life at least. So even though, like for instance, say I've been in it 10 years, or I've been initiated 8 years or something like that. And then, even though someone might not be initiated, but they've been, they're just senior in age, I should not ever think myself higher than them, actually. It's not. But also, that person who's senior in age, if they're very elevated, even though they might be senior in age, but if they realize that someone has been in devotion longer, from their standpoint, they should he's actually higher. So we should all mutually be offering our respects to one another. Yes?
Can I just give a quote from Gurudev?
Yes.
He says, when it comes to seniority, a good way to measure is, he says, it's not senior in years, it's who has seen through the ears, meaning who has realized and who is most closely conforming their life to Shastric injunctions.
Yes.
We can't necessarily measure that from our perspective, but that's a good way to think about it.
That is the ultimate qualification, actually. Who's been, most realized in devotion, and how does that happen? They've heard from the most advanced devotees. But even if such an advanced devotee exists, even if someone is senior to him, he will oftentimes, he will not ever put himself above such a personality, because they know the devotional etiquettes. So we should understand devotional etiquettes, seniority. We should try to always honor our seniors and things. But yes, honestly, the one who is seen through the ears, the one who is actually, that's a very nice quote of Prem Prabhupada Prabhu, is that the one who has actually heard from the sadhus and realized that what the sadhus have told, this is the person this is what's called bhajana vigyam. And this person, they are anyanyam, they're pure, and they're anyanindari. They don't have the tendency, and they're shunya. They're free from that tendency to criticize others. Shunya means devoid. There's no criticism left in them. And what? In their heart. Hridam. So ipsita, this is desirable sangha, this is desirable association, and labdhya, we should obtain this association. So this is what we should all do. We should find the most advanced devotees we can find, and we should properly respect them, and we should hear from them as much as possible, because they're going to be the ones that help us. So this is text 5 of Upadeshamrita. I'm going to pivot now, because it is Srivas Thakur's Avirbhav or Mahotsava, or you could say birthday celebration. It's a very loose Sanskrit translation there. So let's tell some stories of Srivas Thakur. So Srivas Thakur, he came before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and he was a pure Vaishnava, and all he wanted to do was hear about the Lord and glorify the Lord. And so,
I'll get a picture up.
okay. So I believe, is Srivas Thakur Advaita Acharya's disciple? Anyone know?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't think so either. I want to know who Srivas Thakur's guru is.
Do you want me to Google it?
Yeah, you can. You should know. But Srivas Thakur, he always wanted to hear Bhagavatam. He always wanted to hear Bhagavatam, and he was a pure devotee of the Lord, and he always wanted to honor and glorify the Lord. One story is that Srivas Thakur, one time, heard there's like sometimes some scholars, they also recite Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam, if you don't know, Lauren, is an ancient wisdom scripture that is like incredibly inspiring and enlightening to anyone who hears it. And so it's very popular in ancient India. And so all of the top scholars of the Vedas, they ultimately learn and recite this, because this is like the topmost essence of the whole Vedic scriptures. It's called the Bhagavatam. So we love to study and hear about this Bhagavatam. So Srivas Thakur also was one of the personalities who would always want to hear about the Bhagavatam. Oh, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Preeti.
Hare Krishna.
Any here? Where's Niranjan?
He is coming.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yes.
Krishna. Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday. So did you find who Srivas Thakur's guru is?
No.
No, it's not so obvious.
Yeah, I'll look it up on my phone. I'll just put
Yes.
up an image.
Yes. So anyhow, so Srivas Thakur, he would always want to hear Bhagavatam. And he was such an ecstatic devotee that when he heard Bhagavatam, he actually saw through the ears. Meaning when he heard Bhagavatam, he was able to realize and see Krishna. So one time Devananda Pandit, he had no realization of Bhagavatam actually, but he was reciting Bhagavatam, and Srivas Thakur, he overheard it, and he came closer, and he went into such ecstasy, he like fainted on the ground, and was like, swooning, just from like having this incredibly spiritual experience. And while he's like fainted, Devananda Pandit's disciples, they assumed that Srivas Thakur was just some nonsense personality. And so they went and they removed him. They kind of kicked him out of the thing. They took him even though he was like fainted. They just like kind of were rough with him and removed him. So remember that later on. But later on when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this world, that's him. Did we ever figure out who his guru is? I want to know who Srivas Thakur's guru is. So what ended up happening with Srivas Thakur is because even though Devananda Pandit didn't actually himself kick him out, because he let his disciples do the wrong thing, he had to share the punishment. For those who are serving under you, or you're kind of guiding them, if they do wrong things, you will share their karma or punishment with them. So it's very important that also if in your spiritual life, that when you start to help those junior to you, that you lead them on the right path. And if they start acting up, that you give them every chance to help them that you can give them. Or else, if you just let them do any old thing, you are going to also pay the consequence. So Srivas Thakur was removed, and this actually was so offensive to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's a whole many pastimes later, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would not give Devananda Pandit mercy, even when he was asked, because of his offense to Srivas Thakur. But when Devananda Pandit, though, when he got the association of Vakreshwar Pandit, who is another devotee of the Lord, and he served him, then by his service to another devotee, and Vakreshwar Pandit, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard about this, he did get the mercy of the Lord. So if we ever mess up and we mistreat one group of devotees, but if we have in our heart the tendency to serve devotees, the Lord will give us a second chance. And actually, Ben and I just recently visited the place where it's called the Devananda Gaudiya In that place, Bhakti Pragan Keshav Swami, he built his mutt in that spot because that's the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he forgave Devananda Pandit, and he also forgave, who's the other personality? I remember, but Gopal Chapala. So, I'm not going to say for sure it's Gopal Chapala because there's two devotees who both got leprosy, and I don't want to speak one name, and it's not the right name. But there is a unknown devotee, and Srivas Thakur was known for being a Vaishnava, and so Vaishnavas, they worship in a very specific way, very pure way. And they're very humble and not proud. But one time, this devotee, he said he was a tantric worshipper of Durga, and he wanted to see if he could ruin Srivas Thakur's reputation. He was envious of Srivas Thakur. He didn't like his worship that he was doing. So he got all of the materials for tantric Durga worship, and he put it on his front porch for everyone to see. And in India, everyone is like passing by and would see. And so while Srivas Thakur was not present, he put all of this tantric Durga worship thing here. And Srivas Thakur, when he came home, so most people, we're very, very, the false ego is very much, always wanting to let everyone know how great we are. And that's what the false ego is doing. That's what the, less intelligent masses of people are doing. They're always trying to proclaim their own greatness or show others how great they are. But the devotee is the exact opposite of that. Even so much so that even if someone is trying to accuse them of something, even if it's not true at all, they will accept it. Okay. And Srivas Thakur exactly said, he came outside, he saw that, and he understood. Okay, someone put this here, they want people to think and he said, oh, I cannot believe I left this all here. Oh my goodness. And he made he accepted this thing. So anyway, the devotee, the false ego, especially cannot tolerate when someone accuses you of something and you did not do it. Oh, how could they ever, thing like that. But the devotee, because they're very tolerant, they said, okay, I'll try to tell you the truth, but if you don't want to hear it, that's okay. You think whatever you'd like, or yes, you can accept that about me. It's probably true in some way, what you're saying. So Srivas Thakur, he accepted being a tantric Durga worshipper. Within the worship, they have wine, they have like a human skull, they have all these really, grotesque type of things in the worship. So he just accepted it. But the people knew Srivas Thakur, and they knew this wasn't true about him. But that personality who did that, acting that way, doesn't go unnoticed by the Lord. He ended up developing leprosy. And again, he approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu begging for his mercy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he chastised him that I'll never give you mercy for what you've done to Srivas Thakur. And if you only want mercy, you have to beg to him. So actually, he did end up getting Srivas Thakur's forgiveness. And then in that same exact spot where Devananda Pandit was forgiven, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also forgave this, I think his name is Gopal Chapala, but it is possible that I'm mixing up a different pastime. I was here, one of the last times I was here, I was speaking on Nityananda Trayodashi, and I'm going to talk about Srivas Thakur, because in the meeting of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, I said that Nityananda Prabhu chanted a verse, but actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Srivas Thakur to chant a verse from Bhagavatam, and Srivas Thakur, the one we're talking about, he's the one who chanted that verse. Barhapidam natavaravappukarnayo karnikaram bibhradvesha kanaka kapishang vajayantim chamalam randran venur adarapur randran venur adarasudaya purayan gopa vrinde vrindaranyang swapadaramanang pravishad gita kirtihi. This verse is essentially describing Krishna in Vrindavan and what he's wearing, what he looks like, how he looks like a special dancer, the flowers in his ears, the mala, the garland on him, and so on, him playing the flute, and how pure nectar is coming from the flute, and how all of his friends are entering Vrindavan in this scene. And so anyway, Srivas Thakur was actually the personality who chanted this verse, and the way I remembered this was actually during a drama we did in India that was part of the drama, and I was like, oh, I misspoke that on Nityananda Trayodashi, so now I have a good opportunity to correct my mistake. But Srivas Thakur is a very, very special personality. I'll tell you a story that why he's an extremely special personality. So Srivas Thakur's home was the main pastime place for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic kirtans. We went there, Ben. Yes, you were there for that day. We went to Srivasangam. And Srivasangam is actually said to be the Rasastali of Navadvip. It's where the place where Krishna and all of his most intimate associates, they dance and have the most joy and fun. So Srivas Thakur's home in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, it was that place. And so in his home, he would have these ecstatic kirtans, and he would get so much joy from watching the Lord dance there in such ecstasy that things that no normal person would ever do, for the sake of the kirtan, he would do it. It didn't matter. One time, for instance, his mother-in-law wanted to see the Lord dancing, but the Lord had a rule that only those pure in devotion, only those pure, he'll only dance before them. So one day, his mother-in-law, she decided, okay, well, I'm going to just stay here behind this. Let's say it was something, but it was let's say it was like a big storage of rice or something. But she hid behind a place she thought she wouldn't be noticed. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when the kirtan started and he would normally start dancing, he said, I don't feel something is wrong tonight. There must be someone here who doesn't belong. I cannot feel the ecstasy that I normally feel. So Srivas Thakur, he says, someone's in my house, I'll find them. And he finds his mother-in-law. And most people are quite submissive to their mother-in-law. I know I'm submissive to my mother-in-law. Yes. If my mother-in-law was here and had a request of me, I would honor that request. But Srivas Thakur, out of love for the Lord, he threw his mother-in-law out of the house. He said, get out. Lord Chaitanya doesn't want it, you cannot stay. So he throws his mother-in-law out of the house. That's step one of the strange behavior of Srivas Thakur. But it's transcendental behavior, actually, because he had so much love for the Lord that he would do things that most other people would not do. I'll tell you another story. One time, Srivas Thakur had many children. I don't know how many children, but he had many children. And more than one child, at least. But one time when he was dancing in the kirtan, one of his sons had fallen ill and actually had died. He had died during one of the kirtans. So normally, if your son dies, that's it. Party's over. Everything is, that's going to be the end for an ordinary person. But Srivas Thakur was getting so much pleasure in watching Lord Chaitanya dance in the kirtans that naturally all the ladies of the house were crying because they're very dear. Children are very dear, especially to ladies.
It was Gopinath, right? Is his name Gopinath?
I don't know. Maybe.
He was also very dear to Lord Chaitanya. He was serving him all this.
Yes. I don't know exactly the name, but he was a very, very wonderful boy. He's Srivas Thakur's son. So anyway, let's say it's Gopinath. This Gopinath died in the middle of the kirtan, and all the ladies are crying. And Srivas Thakur, he began getting very angry. I understand this, but many sons come and go in any lifetime. But this rare opportunity where we have the Lord dancing in our house, this is the rarest thing. You cannot ruin it with this news. So this is very strange behavior. If your son dies, if Abhiram dies, I don't care what's happening in my life. My party is over. But Srivas Thakur, he kept going. But later in the night, because so many ladies were crying, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they kept dancing in the kirtan, and they had these ecstatic kirtan. If you don't know what kirtan is the singing of the Lord's glories. So we did some kirtan before, like chanting certain mantras. But if you actually know the meanings of the mantras, it can get very ecstatic. So they would do these special kirtans. They would chant the Bhagavatam. They would chant the Maha Mantra. They would chant so many different bhajans, and they would get so much ecstasy in these songs they would sing to the Lord. So they would do this all night, actually. And when the Lord came, was his pastimes. He would have these extra amazing kirtans. But Srivas Thakur, eventually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he sensed something is wrong in this house. And he said, I'm not feeling the same ecstasy that I'm feeling. What has happened? And he went to Srivas Thakur and he says, what has happened, Srivas? Why am I not feeling? So Srivas, he kind of was a little fearful, but he said, Mahaprabhu, Gopinath has left this world. He has passed away. And so Srivas Thakur, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is shocked. Is Srivas, you kept dancing in the kirtan and encouraging me to go. Why did you not stop the kirtan? And he said, oh Lord, I was seeing how much pleasure you were getting. I could not stop the kirtan. I could not stop it. These are many sons, they come and go in this life. And in many lifetimes, I've had many sons in this lifetime, that lifetime, and this lifetime. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, take me to him. So they took him to the dead body of Gopinath, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started to cry, and he held Gopinath. And then as soon as he held Gopinath, and he said to Gopinath, wake up, like angry, wake up. And actually Gopinath woke up. But if you know, there's a pastime in the Bhagavatam where actually Narad Muni, who is Srivas Thakur, is incarnation, a king, Chitraketu, lost his son, and he was lamenting the death of his son, and he begged Narad Muni to bring him back, and Narad Muni brought him back. But when he did this, the son who had already moved on in his death, he came back and he started saying very surprising things. So, where's my son, by the way?
He's sleeping.
Oh. So anyway, if I had a young son and who knew how to talk and he left, and then somehow or other someone revived him from the dead a few hours later, but then he came back and started saying these strange things, it would make anyone think. So actually Gopinath did this, he said almost identical things to the young boy in the Bhagavatam who came back. And he ended up saying, maybe let's see if I can find this pastime, because this is Srivas Thakur, son dies. Let's see what happens. So, passing away Srivas Thakur's son. Let's see if we can find some of the exact words, because it's so nice. The dead child speaks. So this is what he said. Lord Chaitanya, he went into the room and asked the dead child, "Why did you leave your father's house?" To everyone's surprise, the child sat up and began to speak. "My Lord, I'm your eternal servant, and wherever you send me, that's where I want to be. By the power of destiny and by the power of your mercy, I was allowed to live all these days in the auspicious home of Srivas. But now by the power of your will, my destiny is to move to another body. Who is my relative? Who is my father? Who is my mother? When the time comes, the soul must depart from the body. Now, my Lord, I beg you, please forgive me for any offenses I may have made and grant me the boon that wherever you send me, I may have the association of your devotees. With your permission, I will now go." Speaking like this, the child then laid down dead. Seeing their child receive such mercy, the family was in bliss. They all fell at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and begged him to always keep them in the association of devotees. So because of your, Lord Chaitanya proclaimed, because of your unconditional love, myself and Nityananda are eternally your sons. So this is actually one nice part of the pastime. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srivas Thakur lost one son, but then he gained Chaitanya and Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu as his sons, who were like actually the Lord himself. So Srivas Thakur is also the father of the Lord. But this is actually very powerful, because he's saying some very powerful truths here. That one, we're the servant of God, and he knew that. And he said, wherever you send me, that's where I want to be. And we should always understand, wherever we end up in this world, that is where the Lord wants us. The devotee always realizes that wherever I am, this is perfect. This is okay. So the child left, and he understood, this is where the Lord wants me to go. He didn't lament, "Oh no, woe is me, why can I not stay?" And by the power of destiny and by the power of your mercy, I was allowed to live all these days in the auspicious home of Srivas. But now by the power of your will, my destiny is to move to another body. So the devotee is always accepting no matter what happens. I kind of failed this test a little bit, because recently, because there was a bomb scare in the airport I was in just like the other day, like 2 days ago, 1 day ago, whatever it was, very early yesterday morning. It's been a very long few days for me, actually. And I didn't just sit there blissfully chanting and, just being like, well, whatever the Lord does, it's all perfect. No, I started to call my wife, and I'm like crying. I hope I get to see you guys again and things like this, But this is, but the devotee, the pure devotees, this is how they see it, things. Oh, my destiny is to move to another body, so be it. And then he's saying, who is my relative? This is actually very powerful. Do you think that you're really eternally related with your relatives, your parents? You in the back. What is your name again?
Teja.
Teja Shri?
Yes.
Teja Shri. You're next to Tejas over there. So very good. So Teja Shri was talking about her relatives. But in this teaching, who is really your relative? How many lifetimes do you think you lived? You know what the Vedas say? How many lifetimes you've lived?
Maybe all the species in the world.
Yeah. Yes, infinitely. You're an infinite being, eternal from the beginning of time, and you've lived infinite lifetimes. But let's just quantify it. You lived 10 lifetimes. Do you remember your mother in the past 9 lifetimes? How about your brothers, your sisters? Maybe your husbands and wives, children. Who's really your relative, actually? It's very important teaching, actually. We should understand, Even, some are like partners, husband, wives, fiancés. It's so important. How important, actually? This is a temporary arrangement here, actually. And we should understand that. So, who is my relative, he's saying? Who is my father? Yes, he's my father in this lifetime, but this isn't the eternal relationship. He's not eternally my father. He might be my father in this lifetime. I may be his father in a few lifetimes in the future. He may become my wife. Who knows? We don't know how it's all going to pan out. Who is my mother? When the time comes, the soul must depart from the body. And now he's saying, now my Lord, I beg you, please forgive me for any offenses I may have made and grant me the boon that wherever you send me, I may have the association of your devotees. This is very important. Wherever you go in this world, this is the greatest blessing that you can have. Which is why I told Tejashri, don't worry so much about all of the criticisms
All I'm
of...
worried about is because, I'm afraid that I might change and, I might, forget Krishna or, I might become rude or, if I get lost, it will be another lifetime, just like all the previous lives.
Yeah, you will likely, if you stay in without the association of devotees, you'll definitely get lost and do more lifetimes. But
Everything's gonna be okay.
yes, it will be okay. Why? Because you're going to seek out the association of devotees, and it'll be very easy to... And actually what will end up happening is when you do associate with your family, because devotees don't stop associating with their family, but instead of talking about all the mundane things with their family, they start to talk about devotional things with their family. And they start to really help their family members, and they start to really, improve the quality of the interactions due to the devotion that they're receiving from Guru, from Krishna, and from the devotees. So that's what will happen. You'll just associate with devotees, and then when you're really smart, you'll get your parents to associate with devotees too. You'll say, oh, no, we got to bring you to the temple. You got to meet the devotees. And so this is how everything will be solved, actually. For a long time, I would try to, be the savior of my family. Like, I got to go in there and I have to, teach them devotion and things like that. And then what I learned very quickly is that this is not going to work at all, and this is a very bad idea. So now what I do is when I associate with my family, I tell my family, I can't come to this event, I can't come to this, but come up here, we have this thing going on, and look, we have a cute little grandson for you. And then they come up, they see their cute little grandson, and we just sneak up, they associate with the devotees. And then, even when they want to chastise me and criticize me, I just go hide somewhere, and then, then they just associate with the devotees, and then they get all kinds of benefit. So this is, and this is why the boy is praying for this. So this happened in Srivas Thakur's house. I will say one more pastime, and then we have to do an arati and final kirtan. Okay? Sound good? This is a very special pastime. I like this one. So Srivas Thakur, he had a family, and usually family men are supposed to work. That's usually the case of how family men are in this world. They're supposed to do some work and provide for their family. But when one is really devoted to the Lord, you lose the taste for the work. Usually what happens, you just lose the taste for doing work in this world. So this happened with Srivas. He's a very exalted devotee. And he just didn't want to do any more work. He just wanted to have kirtans and do devotional activities all the time. And he just trusted whatever happened, whatever the Lord gives, I'm fine with that. I don't need anything else. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was seeing how Srivas Thakur is living, and he said, Srivas, you're a family man. How can you, I see you don't go out to work anymore. How are you going to maintain your family? And Srivas Thakur, he said, 1, 2, 3. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, 1, 2, 3, what are you talking about? And he said, 1, 2, 3. And then he just left it at that. And Chaitanya, Srivas, you please explain. What is this 1, 2, 3? What are you doing? And he said, 1. If the Lord does not provide for me all the food I need in one day, then me and my whole family will fast. 2. If the Lord does not provide enough food for me and my family, then we'll fast again. And 3. If the Lord for 3 days does not provide enough food or anything for me and my family, we will understand the Lord does not want us to survive, and then we'll all jump in the Ganges and die. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was like, you're a madman. So but what did he do? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he was very worried for Srivas Thakur. He might be jumping in the Ganges. So he went in to talk to Srivas Thakur's older brother, Ramai Pandit. Ramai Pandit was quite wealthy, actually. And he said, Ramai, your brother is a madman, and I worry for his health, but he is a great devotee, so please, I beg of you, please take care of him. Watch after him. Make sure him and his family don't starve. So for the rest of his life, Ramai Pandit, on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's blessing, always made sure that Srivas Thakur and his family had enough. But this is actually a lesson for the devotees. I've told many times that story. The last job I had, I quit my job, and on the day I quit my job, and I quit for devotional reasons. And the day I quit my job, long story short, I was somehow received from the Lord a salary more than I would have made the whole year at that job. And I wouldn't have got it had I not quit my job. If you really want to know how that story worked out, you can ask me another time. But I've told this story many times here. And so many of you have heard. Me and Lauren, I'll tell you another time because we don't have time. But anyhow, I've seen this work in my life. That, so Srivas Thakur, he was so surrendered to the Lord that he was really even willing to say, you know what, if the Lord doesn't feed me and my family for 3 days, then he doesn't want us to live and we'll just jump in the Ganges. So he sounds like a madman actually, but he's actually a great devotee. And if we understand his greatness, we too will also strive to be like Srivas Thakur. And if you read, I should say this, if you want to know more about these things, you should study what's called the Chaitanya Bhagavat. These are the beginning pastimes of, we went to the author of Chaitanya Bhagavat's house, Vrindavan Das Thakur. And if you study his work, the Chaitanya Bhagavat, you'll get all of these pastimes that I told today. And it's very, very nice. So anyway, Srivas Thakur ki
Jai.
Jai. Okay, that's our class. I hope it was okay. Any questions you may have, you can ask afterwards.
Make sure you pull up both RTs.
Yes. Yes. So I'm going to end it here. Madhav, are you ready to be a pujari?